Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about something new using something old. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, hi Frederick, I have a question. I'm working on a Signal R application in ASP.NET Core. It's my first time with it, it's great, but it uses some sort of jQuery. How is it that an old thing like jQuery is still used actively in a new thing? Does this mean that Signal R is in danger? Well, no, it doesn't mean that it's in danger necessarily. It very much depends on the usage of it, and it also, I think, showcases a point that I have been trying to make a few times. Let me explain that a little bit. So, to paint a picture for you, I have on many occasions on this little channel of mine had people tell me that it's kind of weird, or at the very least, the people who I just get so fussy in my heart when they do this, where they say, Frederick, why are you using Express.js? You know that's kind of old, right? I mean, there's this thing called Nest, and you haven't heard about it, but it can do all these things for you, and you get all these things for free, and it can do all kinds of stuff that you're like just doing right now. So like you should take a look at it. It's really great. And I go, thank you. Uh, I have looked at it, and I think that it seems to be a very useful and very great tool. But what I usually do is that I try to, as I like to say, be problem focused instead of solution focused. And in this context, it means that I look first and foremost at what the problem I'm dealing with is, and then I look at what is the minimum amount that I need to do this. And I always come up practically with the same thing, and that is that I really only need Express for the routing, and that's practically all that I need from it, because all the other stuff is sometimes there, sometimes it's not there, and I have the flexibility to do whatever I want. And no, because I feel very comfortable in that, at least for me, the people who maintain Express have made, like, they have to, because that's what a framework is about, or that's what all these tools are about. Someone creates an abstraction for you, they make decisions on your behalf so that you don't have to make those decisions. And I feel very comfortable with the decisions that Express has made, because it's very minimalistic. They basically just give me the bare bone that I need for my purposes, and then I can do whatever I want. You, on the other hand, are now experiencing what happens when the people who produce your product, or your project, the thing that you're depending on, has made decisions on your behalf that you may not agree with. I mean, if Express does this as well. There are people who go even lower than Express, or might even not use Node because Node has made decisions on their behalf, so it doesn't make. They don't want to opt in to. They don't have the same sort of use case, right? And if you find yourself using a tool, and this is the danger that I've been warning you about, when you use even higher and higher and higher levels of application of tooling, such as these guys, these are good tools. I'm not slinging mud at anything here. I'm just saying that these are examples of where things can start to go wrong. An example would be Storybook in Reactland. Now, Storybook, in order to work the way it does, has to make, like, the people making it, they have to build it with something, and the thing that they are trying to build, they're going to have to depend on their own things and make assumptions and so forth, because they're building a product. If that product seems to, at first glance, to be for you, and then you opt into it, and then you realize that, wow, actually no, I want to do things a little bit differently, you now have to make the choice. Do I still want to keep Storybook around, or do I want to do something else or find something else? Same thing goes for WordPress, Gatsby, Django. It doesn't really matter what it is. Every single solution that you opt in for, every framework, every low-code solution, the higher up you get in the abstractions, the more decisions have been made on your behalf, and they are made so that you don't have to care. And that's great until you do care. And here is an example of where you care. Now, if you can switch out, I mean, it might just be that the people behind Signal R, I haven't worked with this before, that they just picked jQuery because at the time when they made, like, they might just it might be that they have a really good reason for it. Another thing might be that they are developers who are not really in the front end space, so they just kind of go with what they know. Like, you might just right here you might see a reflection of the value system of the person who built your tool right there. It might just be that this person just, well, I've been a backend developer for 20 years now. jQuery is still a thing, right? And then they just said, yeah, we need something to deal with JavaScript, so let's just use jQuery. It might be a completely innocent mistake, well, just a reflection of that they are out of the loop of the rest of the front-end community. It could also mean that it was a very conservative, safe choice they wanted to make because they realized that, well, we just want to give some basics, and jQuery is still probably the best option for the basics of things, and still it's going to deal with, it's still going to take care of old browsers and stuff like that. So jQuery still has a place. It's just that it's so behind what people consider the norm in front end. So I'm saying to you, don't read too much into this. The thing that you should really read into might be if you can't opt out of jQuery. If you can't switch it out, then they've made a really strong commitment to jQuery, and that might be a little bit of a cause for concern. But if they just made it a default, then no. And a similar example would be if you have, say, Create React App or like these other tools that might generate a code base for you, or Yeoman or things like that. You might have people who have template projects. Well, if what their ambition is just to give you a very nice experience where you can just set everything up, then and you can still switch it out if you wanted to, then they've just given you some convenience that you can trade out for your specific needs. If you look at, say, C#, it's the same thing. Like, you set up, like if you start a project, which is one of my favorite things about it, it just spits out a finished project for you. They don't necessarily know that that's exactly how I want to structure my project, but I can still change it if I wanted to. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you find that one of your tools is leveraging old technology, as long as you can switch it out for something else, don't be all that alarmed about it, because it might just be that people behind the project, and I think that this is a very nice little, you get to look behind the curtain where you actually see that it's people behind your favorite project. Just with every single one of them, there are normal human beings who are just as flawed, and they don't know everything as everybody else. Or it might be the case that they just thought that jQuery would be the perfect fit for our specific use case. It's hard to tell without asking the people behind the project. But you shouldn't be alarmed as long as you're not locked in. Because if you're locked in, that is the issue. If you're locked in, or the project has a really strong connection to a specific tech stack, and that's not right for you, that's where I've said so before. That's where you have to make the way of. Either you have to just follow their lead and cater to whatever decisions that they make and just have that in your own code, or you have to opt in for a solution where you have more freedom to make your own choices. I personally choose that as a default, unless I know that I'm very sure that I can opt in for a more abstracted solution because I know it's perfect for the thing that I'm making. But as a default, if I don't know exactly how my project is going to turn out several years ahead, I'm going to go for the thing that allows me the maximum amount of choice, because that way I know that I can always make the decisions that are right for my project. Have a great day.